so we can record this. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jack.
She's sitting up there in my dining room. There it is. Oh, how fun. Okay, well, let's see. So let me go ahead and introduce myself, and then I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. I'm so grateful to get to talk with you. But I am Laura, and I am on staff with Master Plan Ministries, where I'm the Women's Development Coordinator and founder of Missional Women. And I just love my job. I only am about part-time because I homeschool my kiddos, who are 8, 7, 4, almost 5, 2, 1, and I'm pregnant. So yes, I'm halfway actually right now. It's wonderful. And I just love each of you guys. You guys are such a great example of what it means to really love Jesus and live for him and be bold and courageous, in how you do that. Even though it's so easy to not, right? So I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say and your wisdom. But Lily, why don't you start? And why don't you introduce us to yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Lily. I live here in South Florida, and I work in the field of education full time. So I taught high school at a Christian high school here locally for 17 years. And then about 10 years ago, I graduated, and now I work at a local Christian college here in the South Florida area. And I've worked in youth ministry, I've worked in women's ministry, I've worked in prayer ministry, and now I work at marital ministry. Got married about 6 years ago. I got married in my 40s. I was single, professionally single, until I was 40, and then I got married. And so now I'm figuring that out as I go along. And I blog full time. I started a blog about 4 years ago after I had a miscarriage. And so I blog at 3dlessonsforlife.com and just talk about how my everyday crazy life impacts my faith. So it's just a joy to be here. And I blog for Missional Women. I love Missional Women as well.
And you know what is so funny is that we have a church that supports us down in Florida, and a couple of the girls the main lady in charge of the missions committee, her daughters go to the college that Lily works at.
Yeah.
And it's pretty small, right?
Yeah, it's a teeny college. It's kind of a transient regional center of the main campus, which is in Illinois. So it's for adults that are going back to school mostly, but now we take 18-year-olds. So we have people from all over the place.
Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then Jackie just told me a story about some other connection to Colorado you have.
Yes, apparently.
You want to share that, Jackie? Yeah.
Jackie, we can't hear you, Jackie.
We can't hear you. Are you on your computer? Okay. Look for the volume, and then we'll get back to you on the story, because it's pretty funny. Okay, Joy, tell us about you.
I am Joy B. Rudolph, and I am also Florida native. I used to live in the same beautiful state as Lily, but we're currently in a season where I live in Houston, Texas.
Yay.
So that's been a special part of my journey this year. But I am a virtual assistant, and I work from home. I am a contributor with Missional Women, and so I'm so thankful to know these ladies. They're my people who care about their neighbors and care about bringing Jesus into their communities, and care about living on mission and fulfilling that part of our call. Those are my people, and these are my people. So thank you guys for having me.
Yes. Oh,
yay.
You are a joy. And you're liking Texas? I mean, that's a transition from Florida to Texas.
Yeah, we're in Houston, so in my opinion, the weather is just as bad. But just as hot, just as humid. But it has not been an easy transition. We miss home a lot, but we have also just seen how God can meet us in the midst of our loneliness, in the midst of everything being new, and just really providing for us a sweet, sweet community, not just through our church, but also exactly where He's planted us in our neighborhood.
Mm.
Cool. Oh, cool. Jackie, how are you doing? I can hear you upstairs.
No. Do you have headphones? I'm using headphones. Maybe that you need headphones?
The microphone? Oh, try your phone. You're on your computer, right? Maybe
I'm
your
using
phone
my
will
phone.
work. Okay. Oh, are you? Wow. Are you holding it? You're very still.
No, I have a stand.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's skill. I mean, not to be so wiggly. Okay. Well, I guess let me see if I could try to get this straight. But one of Jackie's roommates saw the picture posted on Instagram, was like, I know her. Like, she looks so familiar. And so they were trying to figure out where they knew you from, Lily, where they knew Lily from. And then it turns out that her roommate is actually from Florida and was a host or a server at a restaurant that Lily and her husband would go into on their date nights, right?
Yes, we were actually there Friday.
Yeah, right. And she remembers, so I thought that is crazy. One, what an incredible memory that someone would remember.
I know, right?
What somebody looks like 2 years later. Yeah. But that's just really neat that you're reaching all over the world, everywhere. That people, even in
Restaurants
Colorado,
all over South Florida know me.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Well, we're waiting for Jackie. Let's see. Oh, here she is. Let me invite her in. Okay. So Blab is still in beta, so there's still a little kinks that they're working out, which is totally fine. Hi, Jackie.
Hi.
Can you
Yay!
try talking again? Oh,
Nothing.
I heard some giggles. Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Yay!
there you are. Good. Okay. Can you guys hear? Okay, Jackie. Please share a little bit about you, or introduce yourself. Share a little bit about you.
Okay.
I told your story. I just told your story about your roommate.
Oh, so crazy. I am a student here in Denver, at CU Denver, with under master plan. I also help out a little bit with Missional Women, although I'm not skilled enough to be a writer like all you guys.
It's not true.
And then I also have a grown-up job in radio, but I'm almost to the age where I can't call it a grown-up job, and it's just a job. So I
all right. Cool. Okay, so why don't you guys share a little bit how you came to Christ and how you got a heart for living on mission, how you got a heart for making Him known.
I guess I'm first. Huh? I met the Lord when I was a teenager. I was actually in middle school. My dad is not a Christ follower, and he and my mom decided that I was developing some pretty bad habits in public school. And so they decided they were going to put me in private school. And my dad is a process server. So he works with a lot of attorneys downtown. And he was actually at happy hour. And some attorney that was at the bar next to him basically said, oh, I have my kids in this Christian school in Miami. And that was how I ended up hearing the gospel. Was my parents enrolled me in that Christian school. It wasn't a covenant school, so you didn't have to actually be a believer to go there. It was an evangelistic school. And the first months that I was there, they presented the gospel in chapel services all the time. And it was the first time I had really heard a clear presentation of the story of what Christ actually did and why He did it. That I clearly understood that that God wasn't like this impersonal thing. Oh, we lost Laura. That He wasn't this impersonal God, but He was someone who loved me and was extending Himself to me, and He died on the cross for my sins. And it just kind of overwhelmed me. And I just ran forward and prayed and asked God to, you know, change my life and forgive my sins, and that I would follow him all the days of my life. And it was the best decision I've ever made. And so I have a great story because I came to him when I was really young. And so I've been able to grow up in faith ever since I was a kid. So I'm thankful for that. My husband's story is a little bit different. He came to Christ when he was in his late 40s. So we're quite a pair. We're a contrasting pair, but that's how I came to Christ.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. How cool.
I can't see you. Can you guys see Laura?
Hello? No? Jackie? Joy?
Yeah. Well, we can hear you, Laura. So if you like, I will go ahead and talk about how I came to Christ. I grew up in the church, and so I was saved at a really young age. But when I was in the 8th grade, I kind of had this light bulb moment where I realized that being a Christian meant that I lived differently than the rest of the world. I couldn't just go to church on Sundays or wear a cross around my neck or whatever it may be. And so that kind of led me down a path of working out my faith and what does it mean to live missionally. But as far as really seeing my community and my neighborhood as a mission field, that probably didn't start happening until 2009 when my husband and I moved to Orlando to plant a church. And then through a series of events, God made it very clear that we were not supposed to be solo church planters, but we still felt called to downtown Orlando. So then what does that mean? What does that mean if you're called to a specific place and a specific people? So I really had to work through what that meant for us. We were no longer planning a church, but we knew we had this mission. So that period of time very much led me to where I am today.
I think it's just you and me.
Yes.
We've lost everybody. Hi, Joy. It's a Florida girl.
Come back, Lily. We could just keep working through these questions.
I think we should.
Okay. And I don't have them in front of me. I don't know if you do, but I can pull them up.
Let me pull them up too. I've got my computer here.
Hey, thanks, friends, for bearing with our technical difficulties. This is my first blab ever.
It's mine too.
So, yay, we really appreciate your graciousness and kindness. And I'm sure Laura and Jackie will be back any minute because they're like professionals at this. They actually know what they're doing.
Hey, I see Jackie.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes!
Woohoo!
Can you hear me? Yay! Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Good. Good job. Okay, Joy, I could hear you guys the whole time, so good job. So yes, and thanks for sharing. Jackie, do you want to share how you came to Christ and how you got a heart for making
Yes. So I think that people choose God for a ton of different reasons. They choose to yield their lives to him for, a million different reasons. And so a lot of the times you hear about God's love and how that's so true. And a lot of times we talk about God's forgiveness and that no matter what, like Jesus died so we could be forgiven. And like, that's so cool. But those things were great, but it's not how I came to Christ and why I decided to accept him into my life. And it's mainly because he is constant. It's God's constancy that he is the same today as he was yesterday, and he will be forever. And so growing up, everything seemed to always be changing, and how my mom would be up and down, and where we would be living would be constantly changing, and where she was getting money from, or jobs, and all of these things just kept constantly changing. The only thing consistent in my life is that nothing was consistent. And so I went to a mountain retreat with a high school group, and they explained God's forgiveness and God's love. And I was like, yeah, that's all right. I guess that's cool. But when they told me God's constancy, that he was always going to be there no matter what I did, I was like, now that is something I can get on board with. That is that I could use. And so since then, I've learned to value the love and the forgiveness, and how I definitely need the forgiveness. But it's really mostly his constancy that brought me to accepting him into my life.
That's beautiful.
Cool. Okay, so you each have such really great examples of ways that you have stepped out by faith and let God use you in living out the Great Commission, being a missionary right where you are. So I would love if you guys wanted to share some of those stories, because they're so encouraging.
I go to a great church here in Fort Lauderdale, and they always give us just great opportunities to get involved and to, be involved in our community. I think the most important thing that you can do to share Christ with someone is to be present for them, and to serve their needs and to meet them. So we do a lot in the community as a church. We have weekly services at the homeless shelter, and we do community parties down there for the kids, and they do a Celebrate Recovery class down there. Another thing our church does is the free car wash, and we give out free water and just invite people to come to church.
Oh, cool.
And so our church is really always, coming up with ideas for us to be missional, which is great. So I don't have to, reinvent the wheel. They're always helping me in that way. Last year around this time of year, for Halloween, they encouraged us to just, do a block party, invite people. They had like little things that we could hand out to the kids for Halloween. So it was great. And I think it's easier, I think, when you're with friends and you can do that, because sometimes it can be a little bit scary to do it on your own. But they always give us the opportunity to do that and to do it in community. And so that really is helpful to me in trying to get involved. So that's good. And then, just basically just praying and asking God to give you eyes to see the people around you. And, you mentioned that Jackie's roommate knew me from the restaurant, and we do try to kind of go to the same places, go to the same cashier, go to the same restaurant, because as people get to know you, they start to talk. And then that's when you can really, you can say, hey, can I pray for you? What's your story? And that's when you can really get out there and really share the gospel. So those are the things that we do. And my husband's a Mr. Fix-It. So, and I'm the talker. So that works really good. My husband can fix your washer and I can tell you about the Lord.
Hey.
So we tend to do that. We tag team a little bit. I'm the talker. He's the one that fixes your car. And so that's kind of how it's worked in my married life. So that's it for us.
That's awesome. Cool. All right, Joy, how about you? We can't hear. I think something happened to your sound, Joy. Oh, okay. Maybe try to keep figuring it out. Oh, Amanda also just wanted to say thanks for your encouragement. That's so sweet. Okay, so Joy, once you get it figured out, let us know. But Jackie, will you share some of your cool stories. It seems like Jackie always has these really awesome stories of things that happen on campus or something. And it's just always so encouraging. So yeah, you want to share one or two?
Yeah. So when I first got a heart for sharing God and all the great things with other people, I made the slight mistake of praying every morning. Like, God overwhelmed me with opportunities to share your love with other people. And then he did. He overwhelmed me. It was crazy, constantly. It's just people like walking up to me and asking me or just having it work so naturally into the conversations that I'm having. And so one of the examples was so CU Denver has a sister college in Beijing. And so there's a ton of Chinese students that come to campus with us and join us in our classes. And it's a part of a foreign exchange program. And they customarily will come to America and choose an English name because they make fun of us American students and how we can't even try and pronounce a Chinese name. And so they just pick something like Lily or Jojo, those kinds of things. So I'm writing with a student and I'm like, hey, what's your name? And she's like, hi, I'm so excited to talk to you. My name is Grace. Really? I was like, really? Do you know what that means? Do you know where that comes from? And she's like, no, not at all. I just thought it sounded pretty. And so then we got into talk about the Bible and the definition of grace for an hour, just because that's her name. Aww. And so I think, it's just taking those conversations. And every time I meet a stranger, I have this weird, almost sitcom moment where I'm like, wait, is this a test? Okay, how do I do this? So it's this. It's this mini attack of oh no, this is real life. I have to do this. And so I've become less awkward, hopefully. But the first few times I was horribly awkward. So I think it's just fighting that.
Cool. And then, so did you meet Grace in an elevator or was that someone else? Okay, in the elevator. And then you saw her again another time, right? Where was that?
At my new apartment complex. So I met her at my previous, in the dorms, and then everybody moved out, and up comes walking up, not just Grace, who I met in the elevator, this girl named Abby, who's also from China, and her and I had a communications class, and I had shared the gospel with her as well. So it's I'm the crazy Christian neighbor lady, but it's okay.
Awesome. Oh, that is so cool. Joy, hi.
Can you hear me?
Can we hear you?
Yay!
Yes. Okay. So yeah, why don't you share with us some, example of living as a missionary right where you're at, living missionally?
Since moving to Houston, our mission field has really changed, not just because we're in a new state, but our missions field was more of a third place context in Orlando. And here we are just feeling really called to our specific neighborhood. And it's also really neat because we are in a small 12-unit apartment building. And so it's the perfect size for community. But then this is so weird. My kitchen window looks into my neighbor's backyard. And it's just such a gift because I know those people too. And it's this sweet retired couple and they have 20 years of history in their house. And they've never known the people in this building until this July. Wow. When we hosted just a cookout, but it was the little things are game changers. If we leave a baked good, a chocolate chip cookie or a Rice Krispies treat at somebody's door, it is a big deal. They love it, and it's so simple and it's so easy, but just getting everybody together over the summer has been a complete game changer. And within our apartment complex, there are individuals who have lived here 5 years, 6 years, and have said that, community events have never happened until now. And it's not hard, and it's just amazing how simple things, easy things, small things make a difference and totally open doors.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That is great example. And I think it's neat how all of your examples that everyone shared, they all involve taking initiative, like when we just sit back, it's not like things happen, God could do it that way, but really like he's called us to go. Right. So it's just so cool how you guys each have taken initiative, and then you leave the results up to him, whether, we're awkward or not, like we all are sometimes, Jackie, So let's see, what stops you guys? What kind of fears and hesitations do you guys have when you're thinking about, oh, I should start a conversation with this person, or oh, I really should like invite people over for a barbecue or something? But what fears and hesitations do you guys have?
I think for me, it's just, how will I be received? A lot of times you're scared that people aren't going to receive it well, and that it's going to be like this really, volatile reception. And I have found personally that if I just say, oh, chuck it, I'm just going to do it anyway. Very rarely has anyone, I can't even imagine anyone getting really mad at you. I've had people sort of, I've had sort of people say, oh, well, that's nice, but I've never had anybody like punch me. But for some reason, I seem to feel like, it might not be safe, or, that I might, cause like some great disruption. But, I've learned that it doesn't really matter how people receive me, honestly. It's just sort of just letting them know that, hey, I care about you, and, this is what God's done in my life, and it's brought me peace and joy, and I just want to share it with you. I think something that one of my old singles pastor shared that really helped me was, he said, witnessing really comes out of the overflow. And so as the Lord fills you up, and as he's done things in your life, those things just sort of spill out. And as they spill out naturally, then they're received, because people realize it's just who you are. It's not that you're trying to like do anything. I mean, this is just me. I love the Lord. And so I think when people see that about me, I might not lead them to the Lord that day, but I've definitely planted a seed that says, she's a happy person. She's content. She has something that I don't have. And so, I just sort of leave the results up to God and say, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to say, hey, how was your weekend? My weekend was great. I went to church, and then I'll talk about what the sermon was about. And, at least I got it out there. And so a lot of times that helps, and that's a starter. So.
Yeah. Cool. What about you, Jackie? What fears and hesitations do you have? The internal battle.
All of them? Oh, gosh.
Good, we're not alone.
I think the big one for me is, like, the actual conversation isn't super hard anymore, especially with, like, practice and watching other people do it, of, like, hey, this is Jesus, hey, we're all sinful. That conversation isn't hard necessarily all the time anymore. But what comes after that is like actual, like being intentional and making sure to text them and follow up and like actually care about how they're doing and make sure that they're growing and getting plugged in and connected. And if they have questions, that they have the resources to look into those, and all those little things tend to overwhelm me. Whereas like with one conversation, then all of a sudden this person's in my life. That's like a little nerve-wracking. And so it's just one of those things where, okay, this is kind of scary because I'm telling you the most important thing in my life. So this conversation is going to be good, but where are we going to go from here?
Yeah, that's good. And then what things have got you through that, or what hope or encouragement did you cling to help you push through?
Actually, see, this is funny because we've talked about this and you didn't even know I took it this way. One time, I don't remember what you were talking about, but you said, like, Jesus folded the cloth.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so like when he rose, he took the time to fold the cloth. And then I think that almost every day on campus now of like, he folded the cloth, like that, and he was intentional, he slowed down. And so just like realizing that I have to slow down, that just because
Wow.
Maybe that, like, for example, at a weekly meeting on campus, I can see that the projector needs to be turned on and the music needs to be turned up and chairs need to be rearranged and this long list of stuff that needs to be done. But that's not as important as slowing down and actually caring for those people that I talk to, you know, that's not what's the most important. So I think for me, it's taking the initiative to have the conversation and then just taking a breath and slowing down, just being a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Joy, what about you? Fears and hesitations.
I'm an introvert. So I find it really hard to initiate. That's the hardest part. I think there is some fear of failure within me. So then it's like, well, if I do initiate and I get rejected, well, wouldn't that be terrible? Yeah, I'm an introvert.
I get it. Yes. So what gets you through it? What encouragement or hope do you cling to press through your fear?
I think two things would be, one, that it's worth it. You know, like, it's hard and it's scary and it's messy and it's still worth it. And two, that Jesus commands us to go out into the world and share our faith. Like, it wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't this good idea that Jesus had that he thought might be nice. Like, he was serious about it. And so if he was serious about it, then I better be serious about it too, because it wasn't an accident that he spoke those words.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I know, I think I have the same, fears and hesitations, being an introvert as well. And it seems like actually, and this probably relates to other people, but talking to strangers sometimes is easier for me, rather than talking to people that you've known forever, or especially family. For a long time, there was nobody in my family that was a Christian. And now I'm so excited because that's not the case anymore.
Yay.
But there was, I know. But there's still like that hesitation, like when I see them, my aunt and my uncle who we just had over here on Friday, I so much want to tell them, but it's just fear. It's just scary, or a really good friend of my family who's going through some physical, hard battles. It was so hard to tell him, and I did. And I'm like shaking, just to start a conversation. And it is just scary, but remembering, just like you said, Joy, that it is so worth it. And usually at the end of the conversation, it's like, I did it, like it's just really, it's just so exciting versus that feeling of like, dang it, why didn't I just ask him questions,
Yeah.
And a lot of times it seems like, for me, I just set up like the end result, like, oh no, now I need to like share the gospel and lead this person to Christ and disciple them and make them into a multiplying disciple, versus like, wait, let me just ask a question, like, let's keep it simple. Let me just see where this person is at. Like, ask them, like, where are you at with Jesus? What do you think about him? Or other questions, So sometimes if I just back my brain up and my heart up a little bit, it helps me to just take that one next step, not the next 20, you know? So yes. Okay. So as far as, let me share a story of something that, okay. The next question, let me share the next question, then I'll share a story. Next question is, what thing helps set you up, for living missionally or taking steps of faith to live missionally? So how can you, like, you know, your own, faults or the things that will cause you to not say anything, or your own fears and hesitations? Like, what can you do to like help yourself take that little step of faith? And for me, like a couple things are like thinking about with kids. Like if like for instance, we were in Durango this summer, and Jackie was with me, and Jackie's amazing. She's like the Jane of all trades. Is that how you'd say that? Yes. But she also watches our kids, but she came with us. So we're at Burger King. And because she was there, you know, I was able to start a conversation with the little checkout lady, and nobody was behind me in line. So it was cool because I got to share with her. But then after that, at the end of the summer, I had given this lady a Bible. At the end of the summer, Jackie had seen her and some other friends, like her reading a Bible. Or Jackie, what's the rest of that story? There's something cool. Maybe a friend saw her reading the Bible or wanted a Bible. Something about a Bible.
Yeah. So
what's the rest of the story?
I was at McDonald's, of all places.
Okay.
And I was putting up a blog post for Missional Women kind of late at night, and there was this huge group of people in there, and we ended up talking to them for like an hour, and turned out they were going to
They were going to,
I don't remember her name. You probably will. They were
she
going to
froze.
meet up with her, and that she a lot. No. Hello.
Well, oh, keep going. Okay, try now, Jackie. I wonder if it cut your video, but maybe we still have your audio. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, so who's there? I don't have video of anybody.
I'm here.
Is that Lily? Okay. Lily. It's like, anyway, we should have you finish that at some point. But Lily, since you're here, oh, Rhonda. Well, hi. There's Rhonda. Oh, Amanda's a little. Oh, goodness.
Joy, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think it's you and me again.
Okay. So what question are we on?
The question is, what things help you take your faith and live missionally? What sets you up to do that?
Do you guys see me?
That's such a good question.
Are you thinking about your answer?
I am thinking about it. Well, hi,
All right.
Laura.
Oh, hi. Good. Hey, Amanda. Thanks for your help. She's over there in the corner. And hi, Rhonda. Okay. So, yes, you guys are right. That's the question, is what things set you up? Like, how do you set yourself up to actually take steps of faith instead of cower? Like, it's so sometimes. Run away. No, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Well, a couple of things that have helped me is I've done it with someone who is not scared. That sort of helps me a lot. And
Yeah.
I've seen people do it in their lives even seamlessly. And so that gives me encouragement. So, you know, for example, next door to me, one of the pastors from my church actually lives next door to us, which we know, God's story of how we ended up in that house. But we see them all the time. You know, they're across the street. He's mowing the lawn for somebody. Makes cookies for everybody. And they just, you know, it's just part of who they are, is just, you know, they're present for people. And so I've learned through them by observing their lives and by, you know, being with them. And, you know, sometimes you need that. You need someone to kind of mentor you along, you know, and to kind of help you see, okay, this isn't so scary. I remember a couple years ago, I went out to lunch with my friend Marianne. Actually, it was probably more than a couple years ago, but we were at Panera's, and the waitress brought us our food, and she asked the waitress how she could pray for her. And she said, we're going to pray for our food now. Is there any way that I can pray for you? And I had never thought about doing that in my whole life. And she just did it like she was saying, hey, can you bring me some extra mayonnaise? I mean, she was just so, she was so natural and everything. And this woman just, she shared, she kind of unburdened herself. And then we just grabbed her hands and we prayed for her as we prayed for our meal, and it was so beautiful. And I thought, she gave me another way to think about how I could share, and so that just little things like that, just being with people who they have that gift. Some people have the gift of evangelism. It's not one of my spiritual gifts, but if you know someone who does it and who does it well, just hang out with them and see how they do it. And then just pray, like Jackie said, to pray and ask God to give you those eyes to see people and that burden to see those needs. Because if you pray, God, he's going to show up and he's going to, put those people in your path in a way that, you sometimes, a lot of times I don't even have to do anything because people, they start spiritual conversations with me. And that makes it really, really natural. So praying and being with people who really can help you along. I think those are the two things I would suggest.
Wow. Awesome. That's cool. What about you guys, Jackie and Joy?
Can you read the question one more time?
Yes.
Yeah.
What things, how do you set yourself up to actually take steps of faith? Like what helps you? Say if you know yourself and in this context, I'll probably not end up actually saying anything. Or when I say for you, you and Love, and are good at inviting people over to your house, what keeps you from inviting people over? And then what do you do about that? How do you set yourself up to actually take those steps of faith? Jackie, do you want to go?
Okay, I have two answers. So, like I said, originally, and I still am, but originally I was terrified to share the gospel at all. And so I decided the best way to overcome this was to decide which target market of people I was most scared of and then find somebody like that. So I was like, okay, old people. No, I love old people. Girls I can get along with. Guys I'm all right with. Little kids I love. It's the really cool, varsity athletic jock guy. I'm that's who I'm scared of. All right, so I got to do. So then I was on campus, and there was this guy, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's him. So I said hi awkwardly, and then he ignored me and walked away. So I guess the way that I prepare myself is that I don't get to choose. I don't get to go with somebody specifically and then go share the gospel with them. That I have to rely on God to do that. And so for me, it's a lot of, and as bad as it is, it's keeping God in the equation.
Wow.
He has to be. It's completely pointless if we don't keep God in the equation. And so it's a lot of the Spirit keeping Christ on the throne as I share the gospel. It's that whole head heart knowledge thing. I know I'm supposed to do this. Oh wait, God has to do it through me, So that's my answer. My second answer is that there are so many tools. So many. You can just get online and see all of the amazing different types of gospel tracks or there's a missional women, but just so many things like that you can have in your back pocket of. I read a blog post about questions that lead to gospel conversations, and then just memorizing those questions. And so I think that if you are scared like I was, the best way to do it would be to get online and look for resources and then put those resources into action.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. All right, Joy.
So for me, it was really freeing a few years ago when I realized that I didn't have to save anybody, that my responsibility was to be faithful, and that the Holy Spirit was going to be the ones that drew people to Jesus. And I just had to be faithful with speaking the truth when the opportunity arose. I didn't have to add a million things to my schedule or become a street preacher or anything like that. So that was really refreshing. That paradigm shift has really helped me a lot over the last few years. And I think if anything were to get in my way now, it would just be having enough margin to engage with people and to make time and space with people, for people. So that's something I'm just really intentional about. I find that we just spend a lot of time rushing through life, even if we don't have a reason to rush. So I've tried to be intentional with the times that I have time, to be willing to linger in my courtyard or be willing to talk to a neighbor. If it turns into an hour conversation and I don't have to be anywhere, why would I rush off?
That's awesome.
That is so good. Okay, I can't see anybody, but I think I can hear everybody.
We can see you.
We can see you.
And each other.
Okay. Oh, you can? Oh, good. Okay. Well, then it must be mine. Yeah, for me, being an introvert, usually when I'm exhausted, I just want to check out and I don't want to think of others, I guess. And I don't want to try very hard in conversations to really be praying for them and saying hey, God, how do you want to encourage this person right now? So knowing that, depending on my energy level, if I'm going into situations where I know I'm going to be around people, I really kind of what both of you guys talked about, I have to desperately depend on Jesus and just say, God, please give me energy. Help me to think of these people. Help me love them and serve them well, in conversation and in pointing them to you and whatever it is, asking them questions, because so often I just don't know, but we can't give in to our flesh or just our emotions. We can't live by our emotions. We have to live by faith. So asking God for help, he really actually helps, and gives us the strength we need. But I'm so grateful for this conversation. I do have, I would love to ask you guys tips that you guys have or things that you want to share with other people. But I think we're probably getting close on time. Well, we're probably over on time. But there will be a recording. I'll put it up somewhere. I'll upload it on YouTube under my YouTube channel, and then I'll also get it to you guys too. But if you guys are watching, you want to tell a little bird, that's really helpful. Or all of these beautiful, amazing ladies, if you want to follow them, just click on their little picture, and then you can follow them on Blab to see their future things. I believe you guys are also, are you guys on Periscope? Do you want people to follow you there too?
I am on Periscope.
Okay.
I haven't actually done a Periscope, but I probably will in October. I'm going to be doing a 31-day series in October on prayer. Pray big for 31 days.
Cool.
So,
okay.
So once a week, I'm going to try to do a Periscope. If I don't if my head doesn't explode first.
Okay. So can people find you? Okay.
I'm not on Periscope, but I'm Joy B. Rudolph across all other social media platforms. And if they want to follow me on Instagram, that's my online happy place. So they could totally follow me.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So yes, what tips do you guys have? Things that you have really encouraged you, or things that, helped you live out the Great Commission in an everyday way?
For me, I guess tip would be if this is totally new to you, if you just don't even know where to begin, I would start with just write out your story. Like the first time that I went on a missions trip, they had us do this, and this was really helpful. Just write out your story like in 5 minutes. Just if you had to tell someone about yourself and how you came to the Lord, try to write it out in 5 minutes, and then get with a good girlfriend and try to practice telling each other your stories. Just like, this is my story. This is how I came to the Lord, and practice doing that with a friend. And just pray for God to give you opportunities to share your story.
Yeah,
and you'll find that, God will open up opportunities for you to do that. I've done it with like the girl who does my nails. Just opportunities like that. People will ask you, and so you'll get to share that way.
Awesome. Love it. That's great. Okay. Joy, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I would say, the easiest thing you can do is maximize what you're already doing. Are you taking your kids to soccer practice? Are you going to the same coffee shop every day? Do you have a hobby that you participate in regularly? You have at least 3 meals a day. Like, what are you already doing? Just be intentional with the things you're already doing. I totally don't support a concept of where we add like 20 things to our schedules, and like make ourselves more crazy. But your regular life is a great opportunity to connect with people. You're already engaged with people, so just maximize it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, Jackie, you.
There's so many. I don't know. I just am not. Just try. And don't be scared, even though it's terrifying. I think recently what has been hardest for me is I work in a all-guy department, and I'm the only Christian. And so it's just this weird environment of all sports and no God and no girls and weirdness. And so I found that, like, if I get to work 10 minutes early and just sit outside of the office and just talk with God about what I'm going to be doing for the next 5 hours and who I'm going to be doing, that he naturally comes into the conversation easier. And so I think that, and I know this is like probably like stereotypically like Christian answer, but like prayer really, really helps. And that's like the only way that evangelism and living missionally is actually successful, is when God is going before us in all of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is great. Well, Jackie has more stories that I'd love you guys to hear, but she's going to be talking about that at the Missional Women Conference, as well as Joy. Yes, I know. I'm so excited for you guys to come. But thank you guys so much for being willing to share your time and your wisdom and be a good steward of the experiences that God has given you to share it with other people. And I guess that's all. Unless any comments, if anybody wanted to pipe in. But we can also answer those later. So thank you guys so much. And we'll, I guess, talk to you next time.
Yay! Thanks so much. It was fun.